Sousa Show. Sports,
Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
At Rolls Rolla, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today. At 25 Home, our ultimate goal is to provide you with a transformative experience, making each day feel like it has an extra hour. We believe your home is more than just a space, it's a sanctuary where comfort, relaxation, and happiness thrive. Discover the difference at 25 Home today. Shop now at 25home.com.
Coming up on the Pete Sousa today, we're traveling, so we got a best of Baylor show. The bottom line is our Baylor Bears want to be the champs this year in the Big 12. This guy right here, Cam Scatterbill, he was last year's champ. This year, Baylor has a real shot at it. Let's romanticize about some of the past play of Baylor greats and also talk about the future. Today, we've got best of interviews. We're going to talk with Jarrett Stidham. We're also going to talk with Sawyer Robertson. And off the top, we're going to hear from one of the best wide receivers in the country, Josh Cameron. The Pete Sousa Show. Best of Baylor. Take it away.
How does somebody become a walk-on at the level that you walked on and earned a scholarship? How does that happen? I mean, you're talking about there are a lot of people who want to play at the level you play at. Like, take me through that journey.
So I was actually a preferred walk-on. So like a normal walk-on is someone usually that like kind of just tries out when they get to the school. So I was a preferred walk-on, so it was a slightly different. But basically,
now you're one of the
kinda
stars of the team.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes, sir.
it's a
kinda
quantum
crazy.
leap.
It's kind of crazy, but So basically, I kind of just sent my film to coaches, or really my mom. I've mentioned this before doing other interviews, but my mom, she ran my Twitter, like email. Like senior year of high school, she sent like thousands of emails to different coaches, and so one day there was a connection with Coach Wetzel and Coach Absick. That was my high school head coach. So that's kind of how that connection started. So he saw I had like a big playoff game.
Give your high school a shout out.
Shout out CPHS. But yeah, no. That's kind of how that started. And then after that, we just really started building a connection. And then I talked with Coach Aranda, and then that's kind of when they were like, yeah, we're going to offer you a preferred walk-on spot. And so that's when I was going to come here, coming into college. I was going to be on the team, everything, but I just didn't have a scholarship. So I knew I was going to have to just work hard in order to get that. So that's kind of how it went for real.
The foot has not been taken off the gas.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
Since you've earned the scholarship. Your play continues to get better and better. What about you has enabled you to find that next gear?
Kind of like I was saying before, my mom's a big reason as to like kind of why I do this. Like, I really wouldn't be in the position I am in today without her. Like, she's taught me so much, how to persevere, things like that, how to work hard, like what it takes to be a successful person with whatever you're doing. So she's really the main reason why I'm in this position. So kind of with being a walk-on, I still keep that same just mindset of, like, I'm still a walk-on. That's kind of how I kind of view myself. Like, I'm still a walk-on. I got to keep working, got to keep going. And that really just kind of keeps, like you said, the foot on the pedal and just keeps me going and just taking the next steps. And then really just, like, as I've just started playing more in general, the game has just kind of slowed down, like, a whole lot more. And, like, I'm just seeing things more clearly. The defense is slowing down. Like, everything's just slowing down. Since just getting more and more experience over time. So,
what is something in your life, like off the field, that has taken you to the next level? Like, has there been something difficult or positive that you point back now and look at your body of work and say, "Wow, that was a moment where I turned the corner"?
I don't think there's a specific moment. I would just kind of say, just a culmination of just the constant grind. I think that's kind of what has got me into this position today, honestly. Just going at it every single day. Whenever I can get extra work in with, let's say it's a QB, doing that, getting working on my own, going back home, working with my trainer back home. Shout out D-Lou, but he's like that. He was on to me about that, not shouting him out. So he's going to hear this. Shout out D-Lou, man. But, I think it's just the constant grind has kind of got me here, honestly.
Yeah, D-Lou's done a really good job.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So we got to give him props.
Sure.
You run, you can catch the ball down the field, but one of the things that's jumped out about me with your career and your ability is yards after the catch. And, catching the ball in traffic and then taking it down the field. What's enabled you to do that? Because yards after contact, a lot of people – contact, that's it. There are no more yards.
For sure.
How does somebody become elite at that?
So kind of going into it, whenever I catch the ball, my mindset is always I can never just be tackled by one person. If I get tackled by one person, then that's bad. I should never get tackled by just one person. And then that honestly goes back to, like, when I first started playing football. So I first started playing football when I was 5 years old. I was actually a lineman when I first started, funny enough. I played, I think, guard or something like that. And then that next year, I switched over to running back, and then that's kind of like when it just kind of took over from there. I started doing running back training with my coach, Coach D, and just kind of going from there. And so kind of like I was a running back basically my whole life, and so like yards after catch was always like a normal thing for me. Never getting tackled by the first person, and then just kind of ball carrier vision. Like I said, just really just instilled just from playing running back all those years up until really 9th grade. That's when I made the switch to receiver. So that's really where that comes from, honestly. Yeah, just playing running back, because running back, you got to have vision to make different cuts, things like that. And then kind of like when I was younger, I was always known for like running hard, things like that, and always just picking my knees up, things like that. So I kind of whenever I have the ball in my hand, it's kind of funny because I always kind of like think back to like those moments of when I was younger, like my mom and dad cheering me on, just running hard, things like that. So.
You run angry, but you're a nice guy.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. For sure.
What is that like when you shift onto the field? You know, like is there a switch that flips in you that switches into this guy who's going to dominate on the gridiron as opposed to the guy who's engaging with people off the field?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I would say I don't even know what it is, to be honest. I've even asked, like, my roommate Jonah about it. I'm like, hey, so, like, whenever we're playing football.
Jonah Burton?
Yeah, Jonah Burton. So I'm like, whenever we're playing, do you notice, like, something changed in me? He's like, yeah, like, you just, like, lock in for – I'm like, yeah, I don't even know what it is. Like, I think whenever I just hit the field, like, my body just, like – it's like, okay, it's like, it's go time. Like, it's time to, like, lock in, be for real, and, like, just go dominate and just play the game for real. So I couldn't tell you what that switch is, but I just know it's a switch that flips whenever I set foot on the field for sure.
You guys have really made strides as a team, and there's just a lot of excitement around Baylor football right now. How have you made it through the darker times or the lower points as a team? Because I don't know that people quite understand the level of the faith that you guys have in one another and in that locker room. But now it's starting to show. Take us inside that locker room.
Sure. I would just honestly say that as like a team, we know we're a good team, and we kind of just realized that with the games that we played. Something I kind of did was like just kind of go around the locker room, kind of see people's faces, just talk to different people on the team, just kind of let them know like we're still in the mix, like we're still a good team. We have way too much ahead of us to just like quit. I said that with one of my pregame speeches, like we have way too much ahead of us to just quit, things like that. So I would say just the belief factor was the biggest thing, making sure people still believe, because if you don't believe, then that's when it's kind of hard to keep guys on the ship. People will just be hopping off the ship and just things like that. But the belief factor, honestly, has never changed, and it's finally starting to pay off now with these past 2 games, and we're going to make another one versus TCU for sure.
What's something that people don't know about being a leader?
Something that Coach Bate actually tells me all the time, and that being a leader, that it can get lonely. You can be looked at as like
because Dallas Baker, you're a wide receiver coach. Okay, yeah.
You can be looked at as like different, or someone's like, oh, he's like doing too much, things like that. But when you're in this position, you know that's just what it is. Honestly, sometimes it's not fun, but I would say if we're winning games and things like that, and people see that, then they'll just start to respect you, kind of in the long run. Maybe even if they don't see it now, they'll look back and be like, okay, like I see what he's trying to do there, things like that. So I'll just say it can get lonely sometimes for sure.
How do you prepare for life after football when you're at a school like Baylor? I mean, clearly you got a lot going on, a lot of positive stuff. How do you – and now, you know, I know now all you're thinking about is TCU. But down the line in your life, what are some of the things that you want to tap into professionally outside of football?
I don't know. Honestly, I know I want to own like my own business one day. Kind of growing up, my parents, they own a whole bunch of different businesses, things like that. Things from like insurance businesses to barbecue businesses, a whole bunch of different businesses. So I was always like, yeah, you know, like I feel like being a business owner would be fun, and things like that. So I know someday I just want to own my own business. I don't know what that is at this moment, but yeah.
What'd you learn about that? I mean, not many people have parents that are running stuff, right? Like on a business level. Was there 1 or 2 things you pulled from that experience?
I would say that it can definitely be hard, but if you do it the right way, it pays off. It's like I said, it's hard work because it is your own business, so everything that you do is on you. But like I said, just as long as you keep your head down, you do the right things, and as long as you know the right people that can just kind of help you along the process, I think you'll be great, honestly.
You talked offline or before we started here about loving running routes. What is your favorite part about running routes? Like the receiving tree or your route tree? Like explain that.
My favorite part of it, I don't know. I think the whole process is kind of fun in itself. Like just being able to sprint, shut down, catch the ball, like all of it's just, it's like a satisfying feeling. I don't know how to describe it, but Yeah, it's just all kind of a just a really good process and really, really fun, honestly.
I'm going to mention some big-time names here, but you look around the conference, you got a guy like Tet McMillan and Noah Fafita, Shadur Sanders, Travis Hunter, yourself and Sawyer. You guys have a special relationship, right? Throwing and catching the football. How has that evolved off the field? And now we're starting to see it. People like me are starting to see it on the field. Take us through that.
Off the field, we've always been like real tight. We always go to FCA together. That's Fellowship of Christian Athletes. It's actually tonight, actually. So we always go to that together. We're always just talking to each other on or off the field, or really on and off the field. Things like that.
Have to, yeah.
The connection's always been there ever since he first got here. Like, he's always been a stand-up guy, and he's always been nice to me. I've always been nice to him. We've always just been cool, you know what I'm saying? I go over to his crib every now and then. We watch a couple NBA games, things like that. He's come over. He actually likes my wings, surprisingly. So I like to cook a little bit every now and then. So if he asks, just tell him about the wings. He'll know what I'm talking about. But he's real good people, and it just kind of like over the summer, things like that. He always hits me up, wants to throw. I'll go throw, of course, honestly. So I think just kind of that connection just has been just showing now, honestly, and it's been great.
What is the feeling like when you're in the huddle and it's a third down and you're looking at him in the eyes, or maybe you're at the line of scrimmage because of how fast you guys go and how fast a lot of teams go today. What is that feeling like when you know you've got a connection, like a next level connection with a teammate?
Oh, it's like no other, because really you start to communicate with your eyes, basically, so you can look him in the eyes and just give him this look, knowing okay, I know what's going on, okay, yeah, I know what's going on, basically. So I think that's kind of the next step in communication, kind of the bond, basically, that you don't even have to say anything. You just know, just because the reps that we've done and just the time that we spent together, you just know what it is at this point. So
how has your team come together? Some of the best teams of all time have come off tough years before, because it's sort of like the survivors, and this is being dramatic, and I'm not talking about last year's team, but it's like the survivors of a shipwreck. You have such gratitude and such connectivity. Only you know what that was like to go through that. How has your team come closer together this season as you've achieved success? When you look at last year, obviously you would have wanted to do better.
I would say, I think for the guys that just got here, and then the guys that have been here. So really just the guys that have been here, just reminding and just letting people that haven't been here know what 3-9 felt like, and just how it just sucked along the whole process, being a part of it. So I think that constant reminder of the guys that have been here, and just kind of letting people know we don't want to be in that position, we're not going to be in that position. So I think that's that reminder kind of just keeps everyone up, basically.
What's something about you people don't know or would be surprised to know?
I would say, I have 2 pet birds, Otis and Yoshi. So I would say, people probably don't know that, but yeah.
2 pet birds? What kind of birds?
They're parakeets. Yeah, little small parakeets. So.
Do they talk to you?
He's he kind of mimics what I say. So I'll walk in and be like, what you doing? Things like that.
And I'll say, what you doing?
Yeah, basically just like that. So yeah, dog. Otis and Yoshi are awesome, though. Those my guys.
That's amazing. Yeah. Anything else about your journey at Baylor you'd like to share? Things. I think it's a special place, and it attracts guys like you. And it's just something that I've noticed when you talk about business and faith. It comes together. That's my phone. That's my bad. When we talk about business and faith, what is that like, I guess I'm asking, that mission together, business of football, business of what you're going to do later in life, and then also, the business of faith.
I would say really before any business, football, anything like that, it kind of starts with faith, especially for me. I really wouldn't be here without Jesus Christ, because he is my Lord and Savior. And I think just kind of the trials and tribulations that I've been through, kind of the ups and downs, have just taught me so much along the journey. And that it just makes things like business and football, things like that, just makes it seem minuscule, honestly. And just knowing that I'm called for a higher purpose, things like that. So
after football, What's Josh Cameron doing?
After football, like I said, I want to own a business. And I say I don't want to get into coaching, but I think I might get into coaching eventually. I could see myself possibly being, I don't know, wide receiver coach or really personal trainer. I do want to get into personal training as well, so that's another option for me too, for sure.
How good has it felt for you to, and I'm sure you've had fulfillment and success in life, but like on the field this year, you know, you're a guy who I've watched and have rooted for. You don't even know. There's a lot of people that root for you just because they see you from afar. They see all this cool stuff your mom is putting out there. It's just like a real positive thing. So you're like, this is a guy I want to do well. And this year, you've exploded. What has that been like for you as a man to see all this hard work and that grind you talked about paying off now in front of millions of people, dude? I mean, that's who watches, millions.
I think it's honestly, it is a pretty good feeling, pretty awesome feeling, honestly. But kind of through it all, I think I just kind of try to remain as humble as possible and not try to just explode through it all, because we do still have a whole bunch of games left. I still just want to keep on playing, things like that. So I think first and foremost, it's a great feeling. Just kind of just being patient through it all, through everything. Like I said, the ups and downs, and just seeing it finally pay off is a great feeling. But I just try to just remain calm and just kind of remember, like I said earlier, just keep that walk-on mindset, basically, and just keep on going.
When you, and this is the last question, what is something that you as a man have improved upon since coming to college? Whether it is, you know, your route running, whether it is your faith, whether it is the way you treat your friends, something you can look back on and say, man, I'm a lot different than I was when I got on campus in Waco.
I would say overall maturity level, specifically being able to like just forgive people who have done me wrong, things like that, or just kind of looked me off, things like that. I think just forgiveness, I've just been able to kind of elevate that level of my life, just in general. So forgiveness overall, for sure.
Let's hope TCU is asking for forgiveness
for
after
sure.
Saturday.
For sure, yes, sir.
Hey, man,
yes,
thanks
sir.
a lot for coming
Appreciate
by, Josh.
you.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Indulge in Blum's luxurious Lotus flower rolls. The green Lotus roll bursts with a caramel apple flavor, while the blue Lotus roll offers a smooth berry cream sensation. With our Crush for Flavor technology, enjoy an instant burst of natural, intense flavor anytime you desire. Elevate your experience with the finest creations nature has to offer. Explore the full collection at blumleaf.com. That's BLUUMLEAF.com. Blumleaf. Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. Developed by our mad developer Alex and tested by riders, our products are made by riders for riders. Discover more at us.muc-off.com, where we break the mold to bring you the best in bike care.
Since 2003, Bluehost has been empowering people to harness their brands online with innovative web hosting solutions. Trusted by over 2 million users, we're the longest-running WordPress.org recommended host. With Bluehost, you get a safer, better web experience, supported by the world's most popular site builder, and backed by our commitment to open source projects. Visit Bluehost.com today and take your website to the next level.
Hellhound Country, available anywhere you get your podcasts.
And now, back to our show.
We got Jarrett Stidham joining us. Jarrett, thank you so much for waiting in the bullpen there and listening to some of those some of those ads. They're kind of scary. The one about a hellhound, I'm sure that kind of
that kind of threw me off. The Best Buy one, I'm a big Best Buy fan, so it's all good. I appreciate you guys having me on today.
Dude, it's great to have you. I want to talk a little bit about, how you ended up in Waco, your transition to Auburn. There's a whole lot to get at. You're one of the best commits ever that Baylor was able to land, certainly at quarterback. What drew you? I mean, Art Briles, football genius, right? Like, still has a really good reputation in circles here around Central Texas as just a guru. Was that what got you to come to Baylor? What was the fact that, hey, I get to play for this guy who's surgical?
Yeah, honestly, it was. And I guess whenever I was coming out in high school, I believe it was 13 and 14 that Baylor went back to back, Big 12 champs. McLean Stadium opened up, and obviously, I mean, they were the best offense in the country for years, all the way going back to RG3. So it was kind of like just a combination of all of those types of things. And then obviously with AB having the Stephenville connection and that sort of thing, just had certain people run around in the same circles and all that kind of stuff. So, but at the end of the day, I mean, it was close to home, and it was Art Briles and Kendall Briles, that entire staff. I wanted to go there because I knew, we were going to throw the ball a lot and put up a lot of points. So that was appealing to me.
You end up coming to Baylor. Where else did you almost go? Any other school that was like? I know there were a ton of schools that were hot on you, but what were you hot on that you chose Baylor over?
Honestly, at that time, I was committed to Texas Tech for the longest time because Cliff was there, and I was big fan of Cliff and what his offense was at Texas Tech, and then all of a sudden I believe it was 14. There's this guy by the name Patrick Mahomes that nobody really knew about. And at that point I was like, all right, well, I think they went like 4-8. And I could tell that Pat was starting to become a pretty good quarterback. And I was just like, I don't know about this. And so it was, I mean, I was graduating early, and I was 2.5 weeks from going to Tech, decided to decommit and went to Baylor. So.
Dude, did you see? I mean, what did you see? And since you brought it up, I got to follow up on that. Did you see anything in Patrick Mahomes back then that you are seeing play out now in this historic run for him as quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think with any quarterback, any young quarterback, you're just so raw at a young age like that when you're 18, 19 years old. But you could tell right off the bat. I mean, there was things that Pat could do athletically, physically with his arm, talking about arm angles, like all that different kind of stuff. You could tell that from an early age, in my opinion. And so it's just one of those things, like you could tell that there was a lot there. Is just him piecing it together. And obviously, as everyone has seen, I mean, he's worked really hard and he's become one of the best quarterbacks of all time. So,
you end up coming to Baylor. You get the opportunity, obviously, to learn from Art Briles, Kendall Briles, and a guy like Seth Russell. What were you able to glean from guys like that when you're a young quarterback, adding polish to your game?
Yeah, honestly, I think the biggest thing for me, from what I remember, it's almost 10 years ago now, it's like they wanted to simplify the game. And that's, in my opinion, one of the best things about Coach Briles and Kendall is obviously football is a very complex sport, and there's a lot of, chess match going on between an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. But they wanted to simplify the game and let their players play and let their players do what they do best. So that was kind of one of the biggest things that I remember from my freshman year, learning from Seth, Kendall, Art. It's, hey, what are we trying to attack? Is it a certain player? Is it a certain part of their scheme? Whatever it may be. And let's go attack that, and let's do it until they make us quit. And, we were really, really good at it, there for a long time.
How much different was it for you going from playing in the Big 12, where you started games as a freshman, right? And then you go to play in the SEC. What was the difference there? Give me one that stood out to you, whether it was the culture, the rabid fans, the defenses. What's one thing when you were like, man, this is different?
I mean, there's a bunch. I would say, in my own opinion, and I think it's changed a little bit now, but 10 years ago, the SEC, there were no like quote unquote cupcake teams. And it was like, week in and week out, you're playing Georgia, LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Bama. Like it's just back to back to back to back, and it was just like every week. It's in my opinion the closest thing to what the NFL is because you have great players, great coaches on every single team, and you can't just take one lightly. To me, that was the biggest jump at that time from the Big 12 to the SEC.
What did Gus Malzahn kind of teach you about being, a signal caller that helped you evolve to a guy who's playing in the NFL now?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was obviously a ton of different things that I learned in that system. And quite honestly, like we did so much in the run game, but the run game really helped up the play action game. And so we were able, that was kind of our bread and butter for the most part, during my time at Auburn, which was really cool because there was certain, run schemes, counters, whatever it may be, that we would have the play action off of that. And it was really hard because we ran the ball so well with a great offensive line. Kerryon Johnson was our running back. We were able to do those types of things, and then it would set up the deep shots down the field. So that was like one of the small things that I learned a lot from him. And obviously, Gus has had a ton of success, all dating all the way back to his first time at Auburn. So it was definitely a lot of fun.
You mentioned playing for Gus Malzahn and how the SEC was, basically the next step is playing in the NFL. Life, like football, is a confidence game. Was there a moment when you were playing at Auburn in the SEC where you thought to yourself, whether it was a play or a game, and you sat back, had a chance to breathe, and you were like, man, I can do this. Like I can play with the best of the best. I can go to the mountaintop and be a quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, I even felt that way my freshman year at Baylor, but specifically at Auburn, I would say, we started off the year, we won the first week. Second week, we go to Clemson and we lose a close game. And then, I don't know, 5-6 weeks later, we end up losing on the road to LSU. So we had a tough little stretch, and then we just went on a run at the end of the year, and we beat Georgia, and then 2 weeks later we beat Bama when they were both number one in the country. And at that point, we were all kind of like, which we beat both teams that played in the national championship that year, which still stings a little bit. But that that stretch towards the end of the year is kind of whenever I felt like not only we as a team can go win it all, but I also felt like I could take the next step as well, personally as a player.
You get to the NFL and you play for Bill Belichick. I mean, I could keep you here until next Tuesday talking to you about that, dude. I'm in the middle of a book about Bill Belichick. It's just a fascinating man, fascinating football mind. What was your welcome to the NFL moment, playing for the Patriots and playing with Bill Belichick?
There's a lot with Bill. And yeah, we could definitely be here until next week talking about him, but I'll never forget, my rookie year, obviously I sat behind Tom, and so I'm running the scout team every day. And our defense that year was in 2019 was, I think, historically like really, really good. We had defense player of the year, Stephon Gilmore, just a ton of like really good players. And I'll never forget, this is probably later in the season, is one of the welcome to the NFL moments, but we're in scout team in practice, and scout team, we're actually doing really good against our defense. Like we're slicing and dicing, like doing the whole thing. And we're having a great period. And at the end of it, we had thrown probably 2 or 3 touchdowns in like a red zone period against the defense. And I'll never forget, Bill comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, good job, but don't screw this up." But he used some different language, and it was just like he wanted to give me a pat on the back, but then he was just like, "But don't screw this up." You know what I mean? It was just like he couldn't fully give me, the roses that I deserved at that moment, and it was just one of those things like, this is definitely Bill Belichick. It was great, but like I said, we could be here all day telling Bill stories.
What'd you learn from Tom Brady? Just like, I know he's a different guy and he's a one of one and he's like next level celebrity now, but you're in the quarterback room with him. You are learning at the foot of the master. Like, what'd you get from a guy like that?
Obviously there's a ton to learn, schematics and, how to play the position and all that kind of stuff. But what I tell people, in my opinion, was Tom Brady's superpower. with any job, in my opinion, with any job, it's like you don't want to screw up, you don't want to mess up because your boss will get mad at you. Obviously, you don't want to get yelled at, you don't want to get taken to the office, to the principal's office, so to speak, like that sort of thing. And obviously, there was a little bit of that accountability with Bill, but I also think when it's coming from Tom and the accountability from Tom, that, in my opinion, when you're playing a team sport, that's what made everybody raise their game to the next level. And it wasn't like, we're always the most talented team, or, he had the most talented offensive guys, or, I mean, he had a ton of great defenses, but specifically on offense, it was like, I don't want to mess up because I don't want Tom to get on to me. And even as a rookie, like, I'm sitting here behind a 20-year vet in the same system, and it's like learning a different language for me. And I'm just like, I don't want to let Tom down. You know what I mean? But like, it didn't matter if you were a rookie or a 10-year vet, like you felt that way because that he just demanded so much out of the room. And in my opinion, like I said, like that was his superpower. And I think that's why they had so much success on offense for all of those years. We're not even talking about the rest of the team and the defense, but just offense specifically. Like he just raised everybody's level, on a day in, day out basis.
What's a question or the conversation between you and your agent or your family or whoever about playing for the Patriots because there's a number one guy there, right? Like it's a different situation than you've been in the past where you've been able to start. Unless injury befalls him, you're not going to be playing at all. But you're also going to learn from one of the greats. Like, how did you come down on playing there and being like, this is where I want to play, as opposed to some other place, Jarrett, where you look and you say, well, there's a guy in front of me that I can beat his ass out in camp.
Right. It's funny, and people probably don't believe me when I say this, but not that New England wasn't on our radar, but I'll never forget. I went on a top 30 visit up to New England, and I, get in super late at night, get up the next morning early. They put you through the ringer, meetings, then you have to go and install, part of their playbook. Then you have to go to a walkthrough and actually run the plays with other, guys that were coming out in the draft that year, all that kind of stuff. And I'll never forget, they're driving me back to the airport, and I finally get to the airport, and I call my wife now. She was my fiance at the time. I'm like, well, babe, I know where we're not going to go, because it did not go well. And it was just one of those things where I'm like, afterwards, I told my agent, I'm like, dude, like, it just didn't go well. Like, I didn't do a great job in the walkthrough. The install was fine, but the walkthrough was just really, really hard. It was complex, the whole thing. And they ended up picking me. And it was just, we were kind of all shocked. Obviously, like, I grew up, Tom was one of my, favorites growing up, watching him, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, all those guys. But then it was like, all right, you're behind him now. And I at the time, there was another veteran who's a great friend of mine, Brian Hoyer, who's taught me a lot in my career. But it was me and him battling for the backup job. But it was just one of those things that I had to, like, at that point, I had to comprehend, like, okay, like, I'm not going in here to potentially play, because there was some other teams at the time that I thought, okay, like, maybe there's a chance to come in here and compete and play right away. Obviously, that wasn't the case with New England. So it was all right, mindset is, let me soak in as much possible, as much as I can from, in my opinion, the greatest player to ever play the game of football. And I'm just going to be a sponge, soak it all in, learn as much as I can, really keep my mouth shut, and just be a fly on the wall at every single moment. But it was amazing, obviously.
So you continue to evolve, and now you're in a position where, and you've been there before, again, starting in the NFL, you clearly have the skill set to start, but like life, there's adversity, right? And you're battling to start in different places and different situations. Can you bring a lay person like me, or the lay people that are listening to this, into what that's like? I mean, outside of, really, Jarrett, like, you look at, like, the president, that's a really important job. And then, like, the quarterback of an NFL football team, like, a lot of us look at that as second, because the NFL kind of owns the sports world, and the quarterback position is the one you need to be solidified to win a Super Bowl. What is that like, to battle for a starting job in the NFL?
Yeah, obviously, I'll say this, and like you're saying, like, people kind of put it, like, up on this pedestal, which, I don't necessarily disagree with, because I do think it is the hardest position in all of sports, because obviously it's the highest paying position in the sports. But then if things go south, like, you're getting all the blame and all the negativity as well. So, and I think being a quarterback of an NFL team takes so much. And I think learning from Tom and seeing how he handled a lot of that stuff, there's more than just winning games. Like obviously that's the main goal of every single quarterback in the league is like we have to win as many games as possible. But it's also the leadership qualities. It's also the work ethic. What are you doing when people aren't watching type stuff. And when you're sitting there trying to battle it out, I mean, honestly, and it's like any other job. It's like I got to provide for my wife and my two kids. I got to put food on the table. So I don't know how else to do this other than the way that I handle things, which is getting up there early, staying late, trying to make sure that every single day, like there's no stone unturned, and that's just how I've always handled it. And obviously, like I've been in a position to battle a couple of times, and it hasn't necessarily gone my way, but it's been super great to learn from these different experiences and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, it's okay, what is my job on the team? Like if I'm okay, now I'm the backup. Okay, so like last year, what can I do to help Bo get prepared every single week? But on the same side of that, there's that part, and then it's like, okay, what can I do for myself to make sure I'm ready to go? And there's now that I've finished my 6th year, I kind of have a checklist of things like each day I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this to make sure like when I leave here, I'm good to go. And so that's just, again, that's kind of my process and kind of how I do things. But yeah,
what are the two biggest things on that list? A couple of the things on that list you got to do every day.
Well, a lot of it honestly is at the end of the day, after we've installed, after we've practiced, after we've had meetings, it's okay, I have to get ahead for the next day, which like if it's a Wednesday night, it's okay, get ahead for Thursday, third down. And then I go back through the entire game plan, like what we installed that day. And then by the end of the week, it's going back through every single play that we have installed that week. And okay, what is my job on this play? And it may not be a crazy job, but it may be, okay, I got to decipher the coverage and then we can kill it to another play. Or what am I looking at? What's the read on this play? What is this guy running a route on this play versus another play? So it's like all that kind of stuff to make sure like I go through literally every single play before Sunday to make sure if I am asked to go into the game, I know exactly what to do on every play and I can play fast.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to hear you say that and hearing, again, I thought I heard Tom Brady talking with Colin Cowherd, explaining how, his job as a quarterback was to know exactly what to do when he got to the line of scrimmage, right before anything happened. That's what makes you guys great, and that's exactly what you're describing. All right, one or two more things for you before I let you out of here. You see the schedule now, Baylor and Auburn in Waco. I mean, that's a collision of worlds for you, right? Like, I don't know how you associate with the two schools now, but what do you think when you see that game on the schedule?
Well, it's going to be interesting. I think my loyalty kind of lies with the jerseys up above me right here. I was only at Baylor for call it a year and a half. Baylor did give me my wife and one of my best friends. So it's like, I got two great things from Baylor. I don't have a degree from Baylor. I have a degree from McLennan. So I'm a big Highlander fan as well. But I think, it's going to be, I just hope it's a great game. Honestly, obviously I kind of hope that Auburn comes out on top. But Auburn, we got to get things going the right way too. So we'll see. I hope it's a good game.
All right. How the heck is Bill Belichick going to do coaching at North Carolina? This is the last question, but like that's a monster difference. What's experience is that going to be like for him?
It's funny. I was actually talking, this was towards the end of the season. I was talking to David Shaw, longtime coach at Stanford, because he's on the Denver staff. And we were talking about Andrew Luck taking the GM job there at Stanford. And then we got on the whole Belichick thing. And here's my own 2 cents, my own opinion. With the way that college football is now, with NIL, all this different stuff, and you guys probably know more about it than I do, but it's almost, in my opinion, at some point it's going to become a business, which it's already starting to kind of become that. And in my opinion, I think Bill will do a great job because he's been doing pretty much the same thing on a different level, for the last 40 years of his life and doing it at a super, super high level, winning championships. And so I think, in my opinion, that's gonna be, you know, enticing to some of these kids to come in and play for a guy, you know, that has obviously won a lot of games, played, you know, coached a lot of great players. But from a business perspective, I think he's going to crush it because he's been doing this. A lot of these coaches probably in the NCAA right now, they're kind of figuring it out as they go. Whereas Bill, obviously there's some figuring out, but I think he's going to do a fantastic job. So that's my 2 cents.
All right, Jarrett, I can't thank you enough. Anything you're doing in Stephenville or any camps, anything we can get out there, you know, any initiatives you have that we could share?
No, it's actually funny. I'm gonna start setting up. My agent and I were actually talking about this the other day, last week, about potentially doing a camp in Stephenville, you know, towards football season, towards the summer. So we're gonna try to start getting some of that kind of stuff in the works and all of that. But yeah, we're really looking forward to giving back, you know, to Stephenville in whatever way that is. But like I said, we were literally talking about that last week about setting up something this summer. So
I call games, football and basketball, for ESPN, and I did Tarleton's first FCS playoff game, and like,
nice. Yeah,
it's pretty cool, dude. Like for an FCS program, like you feel the football when you get into Stephenville. Like,
oh, yeah.
It's very real. It's palpable almost.
Oh, it is. And honestly, I tell people all the time, I'm very fortunate to grow up in Stephenville, and I think a lot of that, honestly, is hats off to Coach Briles and how he kind of set the foundation at Stephenville back in the, you know, early 90s, and it's honestly carried on even till now, you know, 35 years later or whatever it is. So I think, you know, like I said, I'm very fortunate to grow up in a place like that. And football, it's you either football or you rodeo, or you could be on a dairy farm too, but it's kind of one of the three growing up there. So, you know, very fortunate to be from such a good place.
Hey, we're fortunate to have you today, man. Jared, thank you so much. Best of luck to you. Holler anytime, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Really, really, really had a lot of fun.
You got it, man.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com. Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Combine that with OrganicHemp.com's top quality CBD for ultimate balance. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and OrganicHemp.com. Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Calling all Marvel fans, get Marvel Unlimited and unlock over 30,000 comics featuring your favorite heroes and iconic stories, all available to read anytime, anywhere. Whether you're into classic tales or the latest adventures, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out. Head to marvel.com/unlimited today and start your Marvel journey now.
And now, back to our show.
So the first thing, I'm from the Northeast. And we had a conversation. I host this show called Inside the 12, right? It's about the Big 12, and the Big 12 network, the Big 12 puts it on. We were talking about how to say your name. Do you notice that that people say Sawyer and then some say Sawyer. Mm-hmm. So what is the correct pronunciation?
It's Sawyer.
Sawyer.
But a lot of people, especially from the Northeast, will say Sawyer. And I don't correct it just because like I've been so like used to it growing up.
Yeah. Because you're high profile, and really, when people, the guys who call your games, like some of them from ESPN, from California, from the Northeast, and so they say Sawyer.
Yes. Yeah. No, it is Sawyer though. The only like my parents will make comments about it. I think it's pretty funny, but yeah, no, I don't really care.
Yeah, I've never called games that never got back up the food chain to me that I was saying it wrong, so I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thanks for saving me. Your parents are the last people you want to. You never want to hear from somebody's parents when you're calling a game. Your games recently have gone very well, and you have been not only a bright spot for this team, but for this school. And as you guys head into this game against TCU, what has been memorable about you for this year? Your ability to turn the corner.
I think that just like kind of turning the corner, especially when you take in last year into account. That was just it was such a hard year as far as just everything goes. Like, you're not winning games. You feel like you're letting people down, letting the students down, letting the fans down, the alumni, just everybody. And then you're not playing well on top of that. It just wasn't a very good feeling. And so this year to just kind of have the success that we've had, and there have been like some lows this year too, but we've gotten over it. We've grown as a team. And so that's been the most encouraging thing, is just like getting over that kind of that hump of just like starting to win games. And so it's been really fun. And we're just looking to kind of build on that.
Yeah, I'll talk to you some about football, but I really want to learn about you as a person. And you talk about your fight, right? Like fighting for the starting job in camp. DeQuan Finn gets named starter. Mm-hmm. And this is after last year where you saw a bunch of work. You're a 4-star recruit from Lubbock. I mean, those guys can throw the ball, right? I mean, like a 4-star quarterback from Lubbock, Texas is a starter in college football. Took you a moment. Now you're here. You're seizing the moment. What about you? Where have you found that gear inside you to persevere and stay the course?
I feel like I'm very outspoken about my faith, and I consider that like the foundation of my life. It's like my identity is wrapped up in that, and I feel like that's the reason why I'm seeing what I'm seeing now, is because, a lot of people, especially at this age, everything they know, everything they are is wrapped up in football. And if that was the case for me, like, I wouldn't be here right now, because I've experienced so much failure, so much adversity in my career up to this point. And through it all, like, it just didn't change who I was. Now, it was hard, especially like, because you don't really learn it until you're put in the fire. And so it was kind of that thing, just getting over that hump. But yeah, no, my faith is what got me through that. I know, like, no matter what happens on Saturday against TCU this week, it's not going to change who I am as a person. It's not going to change anything. I got interviewed the other day, and I talked about it, like, my identity comes through what Jesus Christ did on the cross, and like, that happened a long time ago, and like, that's not changing anytime soon, no matter how I perform on Saturdays. So it reminds me recently, Tom Landry, the legendary Cowboys coach, he had this successful career winning Super Bowls as a player, and he found God later in life because he was unfulfilled after all the success on the field, mm-hmm. And so it's nice that you're able to tap into that now early in your life, because it's one of those things where to be fulfilled, you're always going to need that, right? That nourishment that comes from a higher power. Absolutely. And I feel like, I thought a cool interview that I watched was Tom Brady talked. It was after like his 4th or 5th Super Bowl, and he was just like, I just want more. I just want more. And I'm sitting there like, man, if I was a starting NFL quarterback, if I won one Super Bowl, I'd be like, my life is complete. Like, I've achieved it all. And I can kind of compare that to where I'm at now as a college. Like, I remember being in high school, just being like, man, like, once I become a college quarterback, like, that's going to be like, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be all I ever wanted. And now I'm kind of in that position, having some success, and it's like, no, like it's empty. Like, it's all empty. And so, because you just want more and more and more of it. And so, like, I'm starting to realize that too. And I'm thankful for people like that who are outspoken about it, and like what they've been through, because it helps people like me realize that, like, football is going to end one day for me. And so, like I said earlier, I can't wrap my identity in football, because I'm already starting to experience those feelings of like, man, like, it's an empty feeling, no matter how much you win, no matter how much success you have either.
How do you, like, take me through a day of how you stay out of yourself, right? Because there's so much focus on the quarterback. There's so much focus on the football program. and you seem to still be kind of wearing life like a loose shirt. How do you stay out of yourself and out of your head?
A lot, like, if you knew me outside of football, like a lot, I feel like I'm a little kid, honestly. Like I love just like messing around, goofing around. When I'm not like playing football or in season, like I love to just hang out with my friends, go fishing. Like I love fishing, that because you kind of spend time in nature. You get your mind off everything. And so like that's always been like a personal like hobby of mine that like I just can do to get my mind off everything. Then on top of that, it's just kind of remaining like I feel like I'm the same person I was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, like all that's like that doesn't change just because of like the circumstances or situations you find yourself in. Now it's like the Baylor quarterback versus when I was the Lubbock Coronado quarterback versus when I was the Patriots quarterback for my little league football team. You know, like I'm the same person throughout all that, and so that's kind of how you don't get like wrapped in, you know, the whatever it is of being the quarterback, and just like staying true to who you are as a person, and how you treat people is also important. I don't want like when people like talk about me, I don't want anybody to. I mean, I would like people to talk about like the quarterback. Like I want to have success doing that, obviously, but I want to make an impact. Like I want them to talk about the person I was. You know?
You can only control your interactions with people. You know what I mean? Like you can control all the noise out there. People are going to say what they're going to say.
Exactly.
Right.
And so there are going to be people that like you. There are going to be people that don't like you. But the people that you interact with, they have more of a say than the people on like Twitter or social media. And so like those are the people that you want to like have an impact on. You want to like pour into. You want them to pour into you as well. How
do you handle that? I'm like a mid-level announcer, and I'll look at Twitter after a game, and people will be like bash me. I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, don't look, dude, don't look. You know, it's almost worse for announcers because there's not even near the traffic for us that there is for you. But we can look at timeouts at least. Yeah. At least you can't get to your phone on the sideline. Yeah. What's that that's like funny. After a game? Where like, how do you stay away from all that nonsense? Because that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean. It was a struggle, especially at the beginning. Last year, you win 3 games. You're the quarterback at a school who, has had a lot of success in the past. There was a lot of talk, a lot of hate, and then even like the direct message. Like it's not just like going on Twitter and seeing it. Like people are like messaging you stuff. So like you just click on it, you see it.
I laugh because it's crazy.
Yeah,
you know? No, it's really an insane deal.
Yeah, no, it's wild. And for me, like that's kind of where I saw my faith grow. Is like. Holy cow, like there really should just be one opinion of me that matters. And like that's kind of what I grew into. And then I kind of realized, you know, like there are some people, instead of proving people wrong, I wanted to prove the people that did believe in me right. You know, like my parents, my brother, my entire family really, my high school coach, like those people who poured a lot of time and effort into me, those are the people whose opinions of me matter when it comes to football. But yeah, no, I also am pretty good about staying off social media. Like I'll download Instagram if I want to repost or post something like a Bible verse or something like that. Twitter, I try to stay off of completely just because that's where like you see all the crazy stuff. And then also something I learned too is like you have to like take into account who is saying what. Like I learned like there are a lot of like we would win a game. And somebody would message me something, and I'm like, what? Like, what's this guy's problem? And I started to realize, like, a lot of it is just, like, bettors. And so, like, if they might have bet the under. I played really good and the over hit, and they're like, screw you, dude. Like, you lost me money.
Yeah.
And so, like, just understanding that, too, plays into it. But, yeah, no, none of, like, I'm in the boat where, like, nobody else's opinion of me matters. Like, I know who I am, and, yeah, that's that.
What about something about you that people will be surprised to know?
Like when it comes to just life in general. I'm not a big reader, to be honest. I enjoy watching movies, just hanging out, kind of relaxing. I really like spending time with my family, playing board games. Some of my best memories growing up are just hanging out with my family, going on trips, playing any kind of board game, just competing with them. I have an older brother he's 18 months older than I am, and so we basically grew up like twins. So the competitive nature in me really came from him and just wanting to beat him in everything that we did, no matter what it was. And so he's a stud too. He's running track at Lubbock Christian University in Lubbock, and so I'm super thankful for him and just like my family in general. Really, really like homebody, family-oriented person. I would rather, I would hang out with them any day of the week over anybody else, to be honest.
Favorite board game?
We play a game. We call it aggravation. I think there's another name for. I think Yahoo. People call it Yahoo too.
Okay.
But it's just dice and marbles. Try to get around the board. You can knock people off. That's like our family like staple when we like Thanksgiving, Christmas, everything. It's really fun. But we also like all the like Clue, Yahtzee, like all Monopoly. Like grew up playing all those too. But aggravation was like
that's a lost art, dude.
Yeah.
Not many people are playing board games anymore, and I love them.
Yeah. No, they're super fun. It's a good way to get away from like technology too. And so we loved them. I loved them growing up.
How about yourself as an entrepreneur? And this is down the line, or maybe it's right now. You can tell me. But 15 years from now, maybe you're still in the NFL, right? But maybe you're finished playing and you're coaching. But if outside of football, what do you see yourself doing?
I could see. I'm in the business school right now, with S3. Which is basically like sports marketing.
S3, help me out here.
Sports strategies and sales. It's basically like sports marketing.
Okay.
Really like it.
Communications major.
Yeah.
I got to school as a football player. What's the easiest major? It's in communications.
That's funny.
Yeah. So S3, yeah.
But I really like the degree. I kind of want to go down like I would like to stay in like college athletics. Back and forth on being a coach or not, but I think like I could see myself being like assistant AD for a university one day. I think that would be really cool just because you're not only in football, but like you're with every sport. You kind of get to enjoy all that stuff. And so I think that would be really cool, and I would aspire to do that.
Have you talked to Mac Rhodes at all about this?
No, not really about that yet, just because I still have a year before I graduate. Yeah. I probably will have a conversation with him, just ask for advice, how he kind of like got into the role.
Yeah. He does an amazing job. We were talking about it earlier today, just talking sports. When he was at Houston, he hired Kelvin Sampson.
Really?
And that really took that program kind of out of the dark ages, like athletically. He really so he's a good guy to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
and look at all the hires he's done
for
here
sure.
at Baylor.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a conversation that I'm looking to have in the future.
When you look at yourself and your body of work, whether it's as a person or an athlete, is there something you can put your finger on, a moment where you say, that was tough, but it made me a better man, whether it brought you closer to your faith or your family? Is there an instance you could point out?
I think so. Out of high school, out of Lubbock, I went to Mississippi State. Went to Mississippi State because I wanted to play for Mike Leach.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up, watched him, Graham Harrell, Sonny Cumbie, all those guys at Texas Tech. And so it was honestly a dream come true to be able to go and play for him. And
so Mike Leach recruited you?
Yes. And so went there. It was awesome for a year and a half. And then, he's at practice one day calling plays, and then the next day he's not. And obviously it was a tragic accident. But it was really hard on me because I found myself 15 hours away from home. And really like the reason I was out there had gone away. And so I just kind of sat there and I was like, man, what do I do? And so that's really where I leaned into my faith, prayed really, really hard, asked God what he wanted me to do. And from then on out, just kind of like followed what I felt like I was being called to do. Ended up here, and it's been magnificent. But I would say that instance was, like you said, it was hard, not something that I envisioned happening, not something I wanted to happen. But I think I'm stronger now because of it.
I know Coach Aranda is not a man of too many words, but clearly communicates with you guys, and on the defensive side of the ball, maybe more so with them. But has he ever talked to you about, he used to, when Mike Leach and he were assistants together, like the two of them in the same car driving around? Can you imagine that?
No, I can't imagine the conversations they had. He told me when I was getting recruited to come play here, he told me about some of the Leach stories. The Leach stories are endless, by the way. Like, you can't ever hear, like, one person knows them, and there's 1,000 stories just from that one person. And so I always enjoy hearing them. I have some of my own, and so it's just really cool to see the two like connect like that, and it's a
That's team sports, though, and I want to ask you this too, like about how your team, and it seems like you guys continue to get closer and closer. Only in football could you have Dave Aranda and Mike Leach be coming together to share in the same car on ultimately the same mission.
Yes.
And then in football, you have it here too. How have the relationships with your teammates grown through everyone's bonding and everyone's faith?
Yeah, I think it's grown tremendous, and I think you can like tell on Saturdays too, like how that is. Teams that have like a disconnect, they're not able to overcome some adversity that other teams are. I think a good example of that was us last year. Like there was just some kind of disconnect, whether it was between two of the same position, offense, defense, whatever it was. And this year, like the leadership is just great, just from guys like older guys like Matt Jones, Garmin, Hal Presley. Like those guys they're awesome. You can tell they want to win. When they talk, everybody listens. And so to kind of have that, everybody bought in, it means a lot. And I think that's where you're seeing like the growth and the success coming from is from the leadership and the bond. And like those are guys, like you don't follow somebody who you don't like, right? And so like those guys have a say because everybody wants to win with them, they want to win for them. And so having guys like that is really important to a successful team.
What guy is the most important outside of you on the offensive side of the ball? You mentioned Garmin, you mentioned Matt, but who else is someone who you follow, even though you're the quarterback?
On offense?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot. It's hard to just pinpoint one person. Hal definitely has a voice.
Hal Presley.
Hal Presley has a voice. Josh Cameron has a voice.
Yeah.
And then, the line.
Do they have a voice because they're telling you to throw them the ball?
No. It's like, hey, like pick it up,
Yeah.
and you're like, all right, we need to pick up. And then like all the linemen, like the linemen control the whole thing because if they don't play hard, you're not gonna have any success. And so anytime one of the linemen says something or there's some kind of like, you listen to those guys because you want them on your side. And so I think that's why we're having success on offense is there's not just one person who's like trying to pull the other 10 guys. It's like the majority of the guys are like, hey, this is how we do it. This is how we're going to get it done. And there might be one who's like having an off day and the 10 other guys pull him with us. And so like that's where you see a lot of the success coming from is it's not just one guy.
All right, a couple more questions for you and I'll let you go. I know you got to get to TCU. What have you learned as far as being a player this year? And you've experienced a lot of success. People are talking about you. I mean, and they're doing it because the numbers are indicating in the same breath as like Robert Griffin. How are you handling the success? How are you staying in the moment?
It kind of goes back to what you were saying about like how do you handle the people on social media when they talk bad about it. It's the same kind of thing. If you listen to them, you can't listen to them when they're talking good if you don't listen to them when you're talking bad. So it goes back to that circle that I was talking about. Those are the opinions of me that matter. But then
so even the good and the bad, like you kind of stay right here.
I mean, sometimes the good is worse than the bad because it fills your head up, and that's the last thing I want to is be like too over the top, arrogant, like that stuff. And so I have a standard for myself as far as just being a quarterback. I want to be, like I want to be. Everybody wants to be the best, and it's just staying hungry week in, week out to try to win. At the end of the day, wins and losses are what matters. Like that's what head coaches get measured by. That's what I feel like quarterbacks get measured by too. And so at the end of the day, that's what I'm striving to achieve as a quarterback. And hopefully, when it's all said and done, we've won a lot of games because that's what I want, and like that's the standard. And I'm going to try to lead everybody. And I'm going to try to be the guy that, gets the job done.
On the field, when the bullets started flying, early in the season, game one, since that point in the year, what about your play on the field has improved the most notably to you?
I would say, one, I think the game has slowed down a lot since the first game, even going back to last year. But then on top of that, like, there's a lot of, like, I rely on a lot of the other guys. I think the line is playing great right now. It's easy throwing to some of the guys that I throw to just because either they're so open or they're covered and they're still making catches. So I get a lot of the credit that I really don't deserve. But I'm just happy with I'm just happy with how like we're scoring points, to be honest, because can't win games if you don't score points. And so I think everybody's starting to gel, everybody's starting to click, and that's probably what I'm most proud of. Is like I think people are having fun out there when they're playing, and I'm having fun with them, and that's what matters to me.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. At Acasis, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today. We are Rogue Media Sports.